Michael B. is very impressive because, physically what...
Heard that, he was genuinely stunned. He hadn't even realized how much he meant to her story. After the explosive success of Rocky IV, doors flew open for him. Hollywood clearly saw him as the next big action star, and the offers came fast. His first major post-Rocky move was stepping into the role of He-Man in 1987's Masters of the Universe. While the film struggled to find its footing, it proved one thing: Dolph was now a bankable name. 2 years later, he made history by becoming the first actor ever to bring Marvel's The Punisher to the big screen. The early 1990s were quietly some of his strongest years as a performer. His turn in Universal Soldier in 1992 was far better than people remember, and Johnny Mnemonic showed a completely different side of him. Playing a deranged street preacher, he broke away from his usual stoic tough guy image. Then, around 1995, the momentum shifted. Big theatrical roles started disappearing. For the next decade and a half, Dolph worked almost non-stop in direct-to-video films, the kind of titles you'd stumble across on the bottom shelf at Blockbuster. It wasn't glamorous, but it was steady work. Looking back, he never seemed bitter about that period. He viewed those films as chapters of a working life rather than failures, believed each one offered something worth learning from, even if most audiences never saw them. Ironically, it was that era that led to one of the biggest turning points of his career. Around 2002, he was preparing to star in a film for legendary director Sidney Furie. When Furie fell ill just before production, the studio scrambled for a replacement. Furie surprised everyone by recommending Dolph himself. Having already helped shape the script, he stepped behind the camera and directed The Defender in 2004. But that spark didn't immediately fix everything. His acting career remained shaky, and the frustration followed him into his personal life. After a short marriage to Perry Mom, he married Swedish jewelry designer Annette Fäberg in 1994. They settled into a quieter life away from Hollywood and welcomed 2 daughters, Ida in 1996 and Greta in 2001. Despite the peaceful setup, cracks slowly formed. After 16 years together, they separated in 2011. Later reflections revealed that infidelity and emotional distance played a major role. During that time, Dolph admitted he was drinking heavily and growing increasingly disconnected from his daughters. In 2009, the family went through something terrifying. While Dolph was away, 3 masked intruders broke into their villa and tied up Annette while demanding cash and jewelry. The situation took a strange turn when the robbers discovered a family photo and realized whose home they were in. Recognizing the towering action star, they panicked and fled. The trauma left deep scars on everyone. By the time the marriage officially ended, Dolph was forced to confront issues he'd buried for decades. Therapy revealed that many of his struggles traced back to his difficult childhood. That unresolved trauma had shaped his adult life, pushing him towards self-destructive behaviors. Through therapy and meditation, he slowly began to heal. Around the same time, his career started rebounding. Stallone invited him to join The Expendables in 2010, a throwback action film packed with genre legends. The movie was a hit with fans and marked a return to the big screen for both men. The reunion wasn't without tension, though. Stallone, serving as director, pushed Dolph hard, sometimes too hard. One intense day on set ended with Dolph furious and ready to walk away. Eventually, Stallone apologized and they moved forward. But here's where the story takes a much harder turn. For years, Dolph was quietly battling cancer. The diagnosis first came in 2015 when doctors found a tumor on his kidney. At the time, it seemed manageable. He went through regular scans every 6 months, then once a year. For nearly 5 years, everything appeared stable. That changed abruptly in 2020. Dolph hadn't gone looking for bad news. He scheduled an MRI for acid reflux. Instead, doctors found multiple new tumors. Further tests revealed something far worse. The cancer had spread beyond his kidneys, reaching his lungs, stomach, and spine. The conversation with his doctor turned grim. He was encouraged to slow down and focus on his family. It was the kind of talk that leaves little room for hope. Rather than accept that outcome, Dolph made a crucial decision. He sought a second opinion in London. That choice likely saved his life. The new medical team identified a specific mutation and recommended a far more aggressive treatment approach. Looking back, he's acknowledged that staying on his original path may have left him with only months to live. The results were dramatic. Under the new treatment plan, his tumors shrank by roughly 90%. Suddenly, the outlook changed from survival to possibility. What makes the story even more remarkable is that Dolph never stepped away from work. While undergoing treatment, he completed back-to-back productions on The Expendables 4 and Aquaman 2 in 2021. In 2024, he shared a major update with fans. He revealed he was heading in for what he described as his final treatment. Shortly afterward, he confirmed what everyone hoped to hear: he was cancer-free. During a later appearance at Fan Expo San Francisco, he reflected on the experience, described the cancer battle as the toughest fight of his life, harder than anything he'd faced in the ring or on a movie set. This wasn't choreographed with a clear ending, it was unpredictable and relentless. Two lessons stood out above all others. The first was the importance of second opinions. Cancer treatment is still evolving science, and misdiagnosis happens more than people realize. The second was persistence, staying active, eating well, keeping a positive mindset. It sounds simple, but it wasn't. And through all of this, there was someone by his side. Dolph started dating Emma Crockdell in 2019. Their connection moved fast, and by the following year, they were engaged. Throughout his cancer fight, Emma remained right there with him. She openly supported him at public events, often describing him as a real-life hero. Their relationship drew attention for one unavoidable reason: the age gap. Dolph is 4 decades older than Emma, but he's consistently pushed back against the idea that age alone defines compatibility. In his view, maturity is shaped by experience, not birthday year. Emma, who's originally from Norway, had already gone through a marriage and difficult divorce before they met. Those life lessons, he believes, brought them much closer emotionally than outsiders might assume. They actually met at a gym where Emma was working as a personal trainer. At the time, she had no idea who he was. That lack of starstruck energy helped build something real. Fitness remains a major part of their relationship. Despite being the older partner, Dolph often brings relentless energy to their workouts. Sometimes Emma has to remind him to slow down. Their partnership has extended into professional life, too. Emma worked as creative consultant on his 2021 film Castle Falls, and later appeared alongside him in Wanted Man. One of the most important aspects has been Emma's bond with his daughters. Given the age difference, Dolph initially worried the introduction might feel awkward. Instead, it went remarkably smoothly. Ida and Greta accepted Emma right away. That growing family dynamic was on full display in June 2022 at the Minions premiere. Dolph attended with Emma and both daughters. They even coordinated matching yellow outfits for the occasion. The moment showed just how comfortably Emma had stepped into the family. Now cancer-free, Dolph stands as both a survivor and a symbol of resilience. His return isn't just a comeback, it's a reminder that even the strongest heroes fight their hardest battles when nobody's watching. You know how some celebrities seem to have it all figured out from the outside, like they're just winning at life every single day? Dolph Lundgren was one of those guys, still working, still looking strong, still showing up exactly the way people expected him to. But here's the thing nobody knew. Behind that tough guy image, there was this long, exhausting fight happening in complete silence. He kept it far away from the cameras and the spotlight, and honestly, at certain points, things got really scary. Now he's finally talking about it. What he's sharing isn't just some quick recap of what he went through. It's a look at how close everything came to going a completely different way. Most people know him as Ivan Drago, that icy, unstoppable Russian boxer from Rocky IV. But long before Dolph ever stepped into a boxing ring on screen, he was just a skinny kid from Stockholm. His real name was Hans Lundgren. The name Dolph didn't come until way later, borrowed from his mom's side of the family right around when Rocky IV blew up in 1985. Growing up, this guy looked nothing like a future action star. He struggled with really bad allergies that kept him on the sidelines while other kids were playing sports. So he found another way to stand out. If he couldn't be the strongest or the fastest, he'd be the smartest. School became his thing. He later explained that answering every question in class was how he made himself feel like somebody. Even back then, he had his eyes on something bigger. Dolph dreamed of going to America, but his family just couldn't afford it. He realized pretty quick that if he wanted out, his only real option was education. Scholarships weren't just an opportunity, they were his escape route. People joke about celebrities being secretly smart all the time, but Dolph truly belongs in a different category. Yeah, the tough guy image is real. He started training in karate at age 10 and eventually became a European champion in the early 1980s. But for most of his early life, science was the priority, not fame. To understand how he got that driven, you gotta look at his childhood. His father, Carl, was an engineer and former military officer, disciplined, commanding. Dolph described him as impressive on the surface, well-dressed, intelligent, respected by everyone. But behind closed doors, there was another side entirely. That darker side left some lasting scars. As his father got older, his behavior became more violent. Dolph has spoken openly about enduring both physical and emotional abuse, watching his father lash out at him and his mother. As a kid, there was no way to make sense of any of it. Survival was the only goal. The trauma didn't just disappear with time. Some of it still lingers even now. Later in life, Dolph learned that his father had also been abused as a child. That realization helped him understand the cycle, but it didn't erase the pain. As a teenager, all that unresolved anger had to go somewhere. He poured it into boxing, martial arts, and eventually acting. He described the process as hijacking his emotions, taking raw rage and turning it into focus and discipline instead of letting it control him. There was actually a time when that anger nearly crossed a line. Dolph has admitted he once considered taking physical revenge on his father. But as his training deepened, so did his understanding of violence. Martial arts taught him restraint as much as power. He chose forgiveness, not because the past didn't matter, but because he didn't want it to define him. Then comes the part that still surprises people. The man built like a superhero was also a straight-A student. After high school, he moved to the United States on an academic scholarship, studied chemical engineering at Washington State, and later Clemson. He went back to Sweden to graduate from the Royal Institute of Technology, then continued to the University of Sydney, where he finished his master's degree. His academic record was so strong that he earned a Fulbright scholarship to MIT, one of the most prestigious honors in education. On paper, his future was crystal clear. PhD, research career, maybe life in a lab coat. But life had other plans. Just before he was about to move to Boston, Dolph got spotted in a Sydney nightclub by Grace Jones herself. He was working security at live shows at the time, and she was hand-picking guys she actually trusted to roll with her. That's how he ended up right by her side. Back then, his life was split between two very different worlds. By day, he was a serious student working toward his master's. By night, he was a bouncer with an intimidating presence and the credentials to back it up. He had already won the European Karate Championships in 1980 and 1981. When Jones's tour wrapped up in 1983, Dolph was supposed to head to Boston for MIT, but once his relationship with her became serious, everything changed. Instead of going to Boston, he followed her to New York City. Life in New York was intense, fast-moving. He enrolled in acting classes, picked up modeling work to make ends meet, and kept working nights as a bouncer. Not long after they moved in together, Jones landed the role of the villain, Mayday, in the James Bond film A View to Klein. Dolph traveled with her to various filming locations, and it was during one of these trips that opportunity quietly knocked. The production needed 2 imposing KGB guards for a scene. Director John Glenn and Roger Moore had both noticed Dolph hanging around the set. His size was impossible to ignore. Moore even joked that he was larger than Denmark. Since he already looked the part, they gave him the role on the spot. It wasn't just a blink-and-you-miss-it appearance either. He briefly shares the screen with Jones during a moment when her character attacks another agent. It was his first real step into the film world, even if nobody realized it at the time. Around this period, Dolph and Jones became regulars at Studio 54, the epicenter of celebrity nightlife in 1980s New York. They weren't just observing the scene, they were part of it. socializing alongside David Bowie, Michael Jackson, Andy Warhol. For Dolph, it was a complete culture shock. Drugs were everywhere in that world. He's been open about how normal it all seemed at the time. While he insists he stayed relatively disciplined himself, focusing more on training than excess, heavy drug use was common in Jones's circle. The same year he briefly appeared in a James Bond film, Dolph pulled off what most struggling actors only dream of. He landed his first major role in Rocky IV, beat out nearly 5,000 other hopefuls to play Ivan Drago. What makes it even more surprising is the role almost slipped through his fingers. When he first showed up to the open casting call, a casting agent dismissed him on the spot for being too tall. For many actors, that would have been the end. But Dolph wasn't willing to walk away. He went into problem-solving mode, had professional photos of himself in boxing gear, and pulled every connection he had to make sure those photos landed directly in Sylvester Stallone's hands. Eventually, while Dolph was back in Sweden, the phone rang. Stallone wanted to meet him in Los Angeles. That meeting led to months of intense training, followed by a final screen test. When it was over, he officially had the role of Ivan Drago. On screen, Drago is ruthless. He kills Apollo Creed in the ring, a moment that shocks audiences and forces Rocky out of retirement. Behind the scenes, though, the dynamic between Stallone and Dolph was complicated from the start. When Stallone first saw him, his reaction wasn't friendly admiration. It was jealousy mixed with instant distrust. Years later, Stallone admitted his first thought was that he hated him. He was too tall, too good-looking, too physically perfect. But that reaction told Stallone everything. He needed it. If he felt threatened, audiences would too. That intensity spilled over into filming. Because Dolph was a real martial artist, Stallone told him to stop pulling his punches and actually make contact. It turned out to be a dangerous call. One blow landed so hard that Stallone's heart rebounded inside his chest, sending him straight to the hospital. Despite the chaos, Rocky IV became a massive success, earning around £230 million worldwide. Almost overnight, the 28-year-old went from unknown to global superstar. The transformation happened in real time at the Los Angeles premiere. That night felt surreal. Dolph walked into the theater largely ignored, known mainly as Grace Jones's boyfriend. But when the movie ended and the audience poured back out, everything had flipped. The level of attention that came with Rocky IV changed everything, and not all of it was good. Dolph was suddenly the one receiving invitations and attention from women who hadn't noticed him before. Jealousy crept in, pressure mounted. Within 6 months, his relationship with Grace Jones came to an end. Even so, there was no bitterness afterwards. In her memoir, Jones spoke warmly about Dolph, even crediting him with saving her life. When he later